Hey Awaken friends, Chris here, and welcome to our Morning Awaken. I'm channeling some of the energy of the amusement park behind me from Luna Park into this nice little dynamic flow to get your whole body moving today. So let's get straight down on the mat, bring some breath in. Occasionally you might see a roller coaster or one of the rides come up past the window, and just take that as a nice little joyful expression to bring something new and dynamic into your day. To start with, can you come into a seated position, either sitting on your heels, sitting on the mat, a bolster, a block, a pillow, a cushion, whatever is good for you. Bring your hands into your lap and let's just start to connect into this breath. Let your breath start to gently move in through the nose and out through the nose. We'll try and maintain that through this whole class. And as we just let this breath start to fill our lungs up, let the exhale just push that out very gently to start with. And keeping this nice rhythmic movement where the inhales are as long as the exhales. And this first part of the class, you may want to try to make the exhales a little bit longer, just to try to get rid of every bit of breath and bring in a whole lot of new energy and vibrancy through your body. With your hands in your lap, at the end of your next exhale. On the next inhale, let's use our hands to lift them up high as we inhale really deeply. And maybe your gaze follows your fingers and looks up to the sky. And then exhale, bringing our thumbs down just past the nose, maybe your chin, and just nestle them into your heart center and open back up into the lap. Inhale, hands moving up to the sky, gaze may follow gently. Exhale, hands coming through and down. Thumb just grazing in and now pressing a little bit more firmly into our heart. And hands opening up into our lap. Last time, this wonderful movement. Hands coming up, gaze follows, fingertips high and exhale. Hands coming down, thumbs nestling into our heart center just for a little bit longer here. Let's take an inhale in. And just bring our focus to our heart center for the rest of the day. Maybe just inquire with yourself, how am I feeling today? Am I feeling tired, happy, sad? What is it that I'm feeling today? And whatever that expression is, can I change it to be something joyful? Can I change it to be something for me? And open up our hands down. Bring our hands to the top of the mat. Let's point our fingers to the front of the room. Our hips are tracking over our knees here. We're going to come into a nice tabletop position, bringing some strength through our shoulders. And then gently bringing our collarbones and chest open to the front of the room with a nice curvature of the spine. And exhale, doming that spine, articulating it up as our gaze moves back down towards our toes. You can see them there. Inhale, coming open and through, shoulders rolling back. So creating a little bit more of an opening here to bring that chest forward. And exhale, really articulate that spine. Bring the vertebrae up as high as you can. See if the neck can come down between the shoulders, between the triceps. And exhale, third time through, opening up with as much brightness as we can bring to the front of your space. And exhale, doming that spine all the way around. And arriving back into our center here. Maybe just taking a couple of breaths as we just move a little bit of movement here. We're trying to awaken our body. And whilst I like us to move in a nice flow, which is very structured, occasionally we want to bring a bit of dynamic movement to it. Something that's a bit more organic, particularly with all the joyful moments happening just outside and behind our office here. And inhale, coming back up to center. Walking your hands back and resting up so we're on our knees. We're kind of in this nice elevated position here. Bringing our right foot forward. Let's come into a nice forward lunge. Our Ardha Anjaneyasana, our lowered position. Hands can come up as we just kind of lengthen up through the back and then gently move forward. And we're just gently moving back and forward, really feeling into the hip flexors here, feeling this through the glutes. Bring the hands down to heart center or onto the knee, just resting. You can keep them up elevated if you feel that's your groove. We're just trying to wake up these nice leg muscles, these hip flexors, the connective tissues, bringing your hips into your bones, maybe a nice forward stretch there. And then right knee back to left knee forward. And again, moving into that same movement. Maybe the hands are raising up into more of that traditional Ardha Anjaneyasana position. And just bringing a little bit of movement here. And bringing some depth in. Feel those hip flexors stretching. The hamstrings are just contracting and uncontracting on each side. Feel the connective areas around your hips here. Just starting to move a little bit. Calf gets a good workout here as it just starts to awaken. I always have really tight calves. And then coming back, knee down, bringing our hands down to arrive back in our tabletop position, tucking the toes and lifting up into our downward facing dog. First dog of the day, and let's just pedal it out. Bringing each heel, doesn't need to touch the ground. They can be nice and structured high. You don't need to have your legs straight. They can be nicely bent, which preserves your lower back. When you arrive back into stillness here in your down dog, coming up to tippy toes and tiptoeing up to the top of the mat. So your feet are behind your hands. And maybe have a nice gentle bend in your knees here to preserve that lower back. Let's grab our elbows and just ragdoll around. Rolling around. Feeling a nice connection to yourself. Hands down to the ground. And then rolling vertebra by vertebra as we stack them on top of each other, rolling up to stand to arrive into mountain pose. And with our shoulders and our hands, bringing our hands out in front of us and rolling them kind of open. So the palms are facing the front of the room, shoulders roll nice and back, down the back. Tuck the hips here, so our tailbone's pointing towards the ground. But there's nice strength here. The hips aren't tucked too far under or too far back. They're just lengthening. So our spine is lengthening up. And we open and take a breath here. Deep inhale and deep exhale. On the next inhale, hands will raise up to the sky like our starting breath. Fingertips touch and our gaze follows. And then we're going to move to a cactus. Hands moving open, elbows come to 90 degrees with a gentle opening of our heart center to the sky. And then bringing our hands around in front of us so our palms touch and our elbows touch. And then gently fold forward, hinging at the hips. Our chest is coming forward. And then we're just moving slowly down towards the ground. Getting as close as you want here, maybe with a nice gentle bend of our knees, but arriving into a forward fold. Inhale, coming up to our fingertips. Then exhale, hands to the ground and stepping back into a plank pose. Holding our plank pose for a moment, and then very gracefully coming down towards the ground. Elbows graze past the chest. We're going to lift up into a nice Cobra position. And exhale, coming down. Inhale, coming back up to Cobra. Maybe lift the hands so you can really feel the strength through your back muscles, lifting your chest. Neck is in alignment with the spine. Exhale, coming down to the ground. Tucking the toes, pressing ourselves up through plank, hinging at the hips, and arriving back into our downward facing dog. And pedal it out. Take a moment here for yourself. Awaken into your space. Awaken into your day. Breathe in. Coming to the balls of both feet. And then tiptoeing all the way back up to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips pressing out below the kneecaps. And exhale, folding down. Inhale, rolling all the way up. As we arrive back into our mountain pose, vertebra by vertebra. And then flowing hands up to the sky. Fingertips touch. Exhale, cactusing. So we're opening our heart center to the sky. Inhale, hands move back around. Palms touch. Elbows touch. And exhale, folding down, offering yourself all the way down to the ground, into that folded position. Inhale, fingertips out past the toes. Exhale as hands comes down to the ground. And we step back to our plank, holding our plank for a moment. A little bit different this time. Our knees will come down. Our hips and bum will move towards our heels. Untuck the toes, moving into this long child's pose with our hands out in front. And then elbows come down to the ground. And our nose comes very close to the ground as we lift up into an upward facing dog. And exhale over the toes. And arriving back into downward facing dog. And take a deep centering breath in here. Inhale and exhale. Once you're centered back in your downward facing dog, coming to the ball of the left foot, right foot will float up to the sky. Right knee comes through the chest, articulating the spine as the right toes come up to the right thumb. Left foot opens to 90 degrees, and we rise up into our warrior 2. And hold here for a moment. Stabilize. Feel the length out from your shoulders. Hands moving up. Maybe gaze back just to make sure your hands are in a nice alignment. Our right knee is tracking over the right ankle, and we flip both palms. And straightening the right leg, our fingertips move up to the sky as we come to a flying warrior. And exhale, opening back up. Flipping both palms again, flying up. Flying warrior, gaze may follow the fingers. And exhale, back to warrior 2. Inhale one last time. Strong flying warrior, length and strength. And exhale, back to warrior 2. Bringing our left hand round to meet the right. Pivot to the ball of your left foot. We're arriving into this almost Anjaneyasana. This is a really nice crescent lunge, which will be with our hands up. But I just invite you to slowly lower the left knee down. Now, if it's a lot just to come straight down, you can bring the hands down to frame the right foot, then bring the knee down and come back to the position that we started, this nice low lunge. Ardha Anjaneyasana. And lean forward. And back. Same as where we started, just opening those hip flexors a little bit deeper now and feeling a little bit more awake. And then hands down to the ground, right foot back to left. Our hips will move towards our heels again, forehead coming close to the ground, nose close to the ground, but as our elbows lower, lifting up into a cobra or an upward facing dog and rolling over the toes and arriving back in your downward facing dog. Coming to the ball of the right foot, left foot will float up to the sky. There goes that ride. Left knee will come up through the chest, articulating the spine, doming it like we started. Left toes to left thumb. Right foot pivots to 90 degrees, and we open to our warrior 2. Arrive here. Feel the strength. Feel the length. Coming out from your elbows, your shoulders more so than your elbows, but your elbows still have strength. Lifting up your forearms there. Flipping both palms. Let's fly up into flying warrior as we straighten the front left leg. Gaze may follow. Exhale, coming back to our warrior 2. To the depth of it. Maybe a tiny bit deeper this time. Inhale, flip both palms. Flying up. Fingertips touch. Exhale. Arriving back. Inhale, last time here. Straightening that left leg. Length and strength as we lift up. And exhale. Coming forward. Right hand moves around to meet left. We pivot onto the ball. So in this nice position, hands can come up if you want to go to the crescent lunge there. Or hands just there at horizon length. Then hands can come down if it's a lot just to lower the knee. If you're with me, you can start from crescent and just lower your knee down. And arrive into your Ardha Anjaneyasana. Let's just start moving again here. Now I'm offering lots of different versions of this. Your hands can be up, your hands can be on your hips, your hands can be on your knee. It's what feels good to you. This is a morning awaken ritual. This is about you feeling into your body, opening yourself up, and just connecting into your space. When hands come down to frame the left foot back to right, hips move towards the heels, forehead close to the ground, and then breathe up into this lunar rise, nose close to the ground, into cobra or upward facing dog. Thighs are off the ground, strength so your shoulders roll back down your back. Roll back down your back, kind of rhymes as you say that. And flipping over your toes and coming back into a downward facing dog. And take a nice centering breath here. Breathe in. And let it go. Coming to the ball of the left foot, right foot will float up to the sky. Right knee will open. So our left hip foot stays straight. Our left heel is straight. But our right heel is kind of moving over the outside of the body. We've bent it at 90 degrees. And we're gazing up underneath the right armpit. And coming back to center, straighten that leg out for a moment. And then bring the knee up. All the way through. And arriving back into our warrior 2. Breathe here. The strength, the length. Flip both palms and fly up. Flying warrior. And exhale. Flip both palms, straightening the front leg. Flying warrior. And back to warrior 2. Exhale. Inhale last time. Flying warrior. Big breath, holding, lengthening, strength. Exhale back to warrior 2. Pivoting on the ball of the back foot and arriving into our crescent lunge, wherever that is for you. And hands can come down to the ground, or you can lower down into the lowered lunge position. Just a couple of pulsing movements here. Keeping that breath, keeping yourself centered, keeping it moving. Hands come down to frame the right foot back to left. Hips come back towards the heels. Forehead comes close to the ground. And breathe open as we lift back up, flying up into our upward facing dog, rolling over the toes, and arriving back into downward facing dog. Take a breath in here, one big deep breath. Tailbone moves slightly higher up towards the back of the room. And your heels can be wherever they need to be. They don't have to be on the ground. They don't have to be touching the ground. They can be a little bit higher, whatever works for you, with knees bent or not. Coming to the ball of the right foot, left foot floats up to the sky and opening up. Again, right heel is staying in alignment. Gaze is coming up underneath the left armpit. That foot is just hanging out in this nice place, nice 90 degrees. And coming back to center, just a little straightening first, lengthening it back up into three-legged dog, articulating the spine, doming all the way up. Left toes to left thumb, right foot 90 degrees, and we rise back up into our warrior 2. Flipping both palms, fly open to a flying warrior, and exhale. Opening, flipping both palms, fly back, flying warrior, exhale. Open, inhale, flying warrior, and exhale. And then pivoting on the ball with the right foot, coming back into our crescent lunge, or wherever feels good for you. If crescent lunge doesn't feel quite open to you, bend the back right knee a little bit. It gives you a bit more length, brings your spine into alignment. And when you're ready, lowering that right knee down. And just a couple of pulses here. Again, hands can be up the whole time. Hands can be on your hips. Hands can be on the knees. Hands can be doing whatever you want. It's your practice. It's your awakening moment. It's what feels good to you. After a nice, good stretch there. Hands down to the ground. Left knee back to right. Hips move back. Open down to the ground. Breathe ourselves open. Coming up into an upward facing dog. And then moving our knees up to the edge of the mat. And sliding our hips back into a child's pose. Hands out in front. Hips are moving towards the heels. And let everything go. Maybe instead of keeping your arms elevated, you let the elbows come down to the ground. And take a nice breath in here. And let it go. Coming up into a tabletop position, I'm just going to scooch over so that thumbs on the ground, feet out in front. I'm going to do a nice gentle fold forward. And that's bringing our chest up and elevated. Now, if this is a lot for you, you can put a block underneath. You can bring the knees up, bolster, pillow, whatever it is, and that'll be more accessible for your lower back. So you're not just trying to stretch in here. And if you're feeling it and you're ready, bring your hands up. Chest comes forward first. So chest is forward. Hands move to toes, shins, wherever it's accessible, onto the edge of the mat. Again, this is your morning ritual. And take a nice breath in here, wherever that is for you, wherever the accessibility is feeling into your body today. And coming back up to a seated position, fingers just tucking underneath the knees so we can just gently lie back. I need to move down the mat a bit, otherwise I'll fall off camera. and laying down. Feet coming out to the edge of the mat. And we'll finish up this one with my favorite twist, my favorite cool down stretch. Bringing your right knee up into the chest, interlacing the fingers just around the knee and bringing that a little bit closer up towards the armpit here. Almost trying to get towards the shoulder. And then left hand sits on the outside of the right knee, right hand to the sky. We're going to bring the knee over first. So slowly rolling the knee across the body first. Knee doesn't need to touch the ground. If it's floating in space, just tuck the toes behind the right knee and then bring the right arm down to the ground. Now the right shoulder should be close to the ground, touching the ground. And that doesn't mean the knee needs to as well. So the knee can float, but we would prefer the shoulder on the ground rather than the knee. And just stay here. Breathe in for a moment. We'll take any expansion that is right for you. And coming back to center, hug that knee one time, let the knee go, hug the left knee in, left knee close to the shoulder there, and then right hand moves the microphone back first, and then brings the left knee over, and then bring the hand down to the ground. And again, when the shoulder touches, the knee may be floating in space. If it is, just tuck the left toes behind the right knee so it's not floating uncomfortably. And then whatever you did on that side, do it on this side. A bit close to the wall. And breathe here. And then back to center. Tuck that knee in one time. Let it go. And we've come to the end of this class. And I'll leave you here to either lie down, relax, or if you want to jump into a longer Savasana, there's a few others in the playlist that you can go and find. And I want to thank you for waking up with me. Thank you for a morning awaken. And I hope the energy of the park and the joy, and maybe the occasional scream that's coming through the microphone, made it fun. Have an amazing rest of your day and look forward to seeing you again soon. Namaste.